Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be going over complementary angles and supplementary angles and solving angles inside of a triangle, whether it be a non-right triangle or right triangle, and solving for complementary angles, supplementary angles, and determining if they're complementary or supplementary. So the first thing I want to talk about is what is a complementary angle? So a complementary angle or complementary angles is, well, it relates to 180 degrees. So if we have a line, okay, we know a line, its angle is 180 degrees, correct? Now, let's say we put a line right here. Notice how it cuts the circle into this angle right here and this angle right here. That's one way to think of a complementary angle. This could be theta 1 and this could be theta 2. So what's a formula that relates these two together? It's angle A plus angle B equals to 180. This is the general formula for two angles that form a 180 degree angle. So that's what complementary angles are. They're two angles that add up to give us 180 degrees. So what are supplementary angles? Supplementary angles. I got them mixed up. Supplementary angles are two angles that add to give 180 degrees. Now let's talk about complementary angles. So complementary angles are two angles that add to give you 90 degrees. So remember, we're working with a line that's 180, but with a 90 degree angle, which we know looks like this, it's half a line, remember? Because remember, if this is 180 degrees right here, basically 90 degrees is we take half of it and we form this angle right here. So it's like a special case basically. So again, if we put a intersecting line like this, we get, if you look right here, we get a theta 1 and here we get a theta 2. See? If we color it in. So complementary angles are two angles that add to give you 90 degrees. The formula is angle A plus angle B equals to 90 degrees. So if we know, well, if the problem tells us that it's complementary or supplementary, which it isn't always going to, but there's a few ways to determine that. But let's go through a few problems because I feel like going through examples will make more sense. So I'll give you the question. Find the complementary angle to this angle. So if we have this, they're gonna give you something like this, and this is 62 degrees. So this angle right here is 62 degrees, and it says find the complementary angle. So when we're talking about complementary angles, we always want to draw the right triangle. So let's do that. So let's make this a right triangle by drawing a straight line over here. Notice it looks like something that we know, and we'll fill this blank right here and do it in a different color. Okay, so this is theta. We don't know what this is. Okay, so if we know that this complementary angles always add up to 90. We can use this formula. Angle A plus angle B equals 90. It doesn't matter which variables you use, but if we can use this is if we at least know one of the pairs, which is 62 degrees, we can find out what the other one is, because that's what we're finding for. Because a right triangle is always two smaller angles. Same with complementary. It's always two smaller angles to give you that 180 degrees. So we can do, let's call theta A. So theta is A, and 62 degrees is B. So let's just plug. So we're going to call it, so we're going to do theta plus 62 degrees equal to 90 degrees. So now let's do algebra. So we want to move the 62 to the other side. So we're going to subtract 62. And we subtract 62 on the other side. So now we compute this, we get theta equals 90 minus 62, which is, let's see, 28. So theta equals 28 degrees. Now, is this right? Well, we can check. According to this formula, B, which is A, which is theta we just found, if we plug it back into the formula, we should get 90 degrees. Okay? So 28 degrees plus 62 degrees, which is given. What is it equal? Let's see. So 62 plus 28 is 90. So 90 degrees equals 90 degrees, because this left side has to equal this right side of the equation. And that's how you know you're correct. Let's do another one. So let's say they give you this angle right here, and we know, and they say find the complement to this angle. So same idea, just find the other angle that gives 90 degrees. That's what it means to mean complement. So how do we do this? So first of all, draw your line that gives you 90 degrees, and then draw your other angle to complete it. So we're going to call this theta. Okay, and this is 27. So we're going to do the same thing as before. So we're going to do theta plus 27 degrees is equal to 90 degrees. Remember, I just used this formula, the angle A plus angle B equals 90 degrees. And I just plugged in theta for A and B for 27. So anyway, so I'm going to subtract 27 degrees from both sides. And I'm going to get 90 minus 27, which is 63. So theta is equal to 63 degrees. So let's plug it in. So if we do angle A plus angle B equals 90 degrees, this angle that we found, when combined with the other angle that they given, should give us 90 degrees. So let's do 63 degrees plus 27 degrees equal to 90. So this is true. Okay, great. Now, supplementary. Same idea. But this time, the two angles that we're given have to equal 180. Now, I told you something about how do I know from the problem itself, if it's not mentioned, if I'm finding if this angle is supplementary or if it's complementary. Well, there's two ways. In the problems we just did, notice that the angle they gave us was 62 degrees. Okay? Most likely when we're doing something like this, and it's an acute angle, it's going to be complementary. But there are some exceptions. So it's kind of hard to tell, but it's easier to tell with supplementary, because with acute angles, if they gave you something like this, let's say again 62 degrees, we could draw something like this, and it could be supplementary. Okay, so that could work, but when you have like an obtuse angle 100%, that's greater than 90, and we know supplementary angles can't be greater than 90. They can't add up to give you something greater than 90. So the given angle that they give you cannot be an obtuse angle if we're solving something that's complementary. So I'm gonna show you an example. So I'm not gonna tell you here. So I have 110 degrees. Okay. So what are we solving for here? Is this angle right here they gave us, is this supplementary? Because we're asked, always in these types of problems, we're asked to find the other angle. So is it supplementary, this angle they gave us, or is this complementary? Right away, it's complementary because the formula says angle A plus angle B have to equal 90 degrees. This is for the complementary. If we call this 110 degrees, let's call this A equals 110 degrees, and we plug it in. 110 plus B equals 90, and we rearrange through algebra. You're going to get a negative angle. And unless you're in trigonometry, which is geometry, we don't really work with negative angles. So that's how you know this can't be complementary. So what is this then? Well, since it's greater than 90 degrees, like I told you, that means this plus the angle that we don't know will give us a straight line, which is supplementary. So let's go ahead and draw our line and complete the circle. So this is what we're solving. You see right here, if we draw on top of it, this is one angle, and this is, this is another angle. See, anytime you have a supplementary or complementary, they always form two angles like this. Two smaller angles, sorry. So let's let B equal 110 degrees and let theta equals A. Now the formula for finding supplementary angles is angle A plus angle B equals 180 degrees. So let's just go ahead and rearrange like we did before. So it's theta plus 110 equals 180 degrees. So if we do our algebra, remember, we want to get rid of something. We do the opposite and bring it over to the other side. So theta equals 180 minus 110, which is 70 degrees. Okay, now if we plug this in, we should get 180, because this plus the other one have to equal 180, because that's what complementary angles are. Plus 110 equals 180. Let's see. So 110 plus 170 is 180. So 180 equals 180. When you have a statement like this in math, when the two sides are equal to each other, that's a definite statement. So that means this is correct. So that's how we choose. So theta equals 70 here. So let's try another one. So right here, this is 159 degrees. And this one says find the supplement to this angle. Okay. So first step, let's finish the rest of the triangle. I mean the circle. So now we have a theta right here. So we're going to use a formula. Angle A plus angle B has to equal 180 degrees. So let's let A equal to 159 degrees and let B equals to theta. So let's solve for this. So let's plug it in. Theta for A plus, well, other way around, 159 degrees plus theta equals 180 degrees. So now I'm going to subtract 159. So let's see, 180 minus 159 equals to 21 degrees. Cool. Let's try one more. So let's extend our circle, call this theta, and let's use the formula. Angle A plus angle B equals 180. Let A equal to theta. Let B equals to 97. So now, remember, when you have to let A equals to theta, that means you can plug in a theta for the A in the formula. So that's what I'm going to do. Plug into this and plug B into here. So we get theta plus 97 degrees equals 180 degrees. Then we subtract. And we get theta equals to 83 degrees. Okay, cool. So that's basically an introduction to supplementary and complementary angles and solving for missing angles when they give you something like that. So how can you determine if a pair of angle measurements are complementary, supplementary, or neither? So if I gave you, for example, like 36 degrees and 24 degrees, all you have to do is just plug it into the formula, either one. So let's try that. So angle A plus angle B equals 180. This is for supplementary. And for complementary, same thing, but with 90 equals 90 degrees. So if we call this A and we call this B, we can just plug and see if the left side is equal to the right side, then they're supplementary or complementary. If they don't, they're neither. So let's plug in to supplementary one. So 36 degrees plus 24 degrees has to equal 180 degrees. Let's see. So 36 plus 24 is equal to 60. 60 degrees equal to 180 degrees. Is this true? Does 60 equal 180? It does not. So this isn't true. So it's not supplementary. Let's try the complementary. Let's plug it to the complementary formula. So let's do 36 degrees plus 24 degrees has to equal 90 degrees. So 36 plus 24 is again 60 degrees. So is 60 equal 90? It is not. So that means not complementary. Try another one, another example. So 147 degrees and 33 degrees. So determine if these are complementary, supplementary, or neither, if this pair of angle measurements, because complementary, supplementary angles are always two angles combined to equal 90 or 180. So let's check. Let's use the formula again. Angle A plus angle B has to equal 180. Or angle A plus angle B has to equal 90 degrees. So let's plug into either. So let's plug into the supplementary one. So this is going to be A, and this is going to be B. So 147 degrees plus 33 degrees is 180. And the formula says it has to equal 180. So 180 equals 180. So we are complementary. We have something like this, it means it's true. So these are complementary. These pair, this pair. So let's plug it into the, Supplementary. He's mixed up. Supplementary. See, make sure you don't mix up the wording. So let's plug into this one, the second formula, which is the complementary. So 147 degrees plus 33 degrees has to equal 90 degrees. So we got 180 on the left side equal to 90 degrees. So is this equal to 90 degrees? Is 1 equal to 90? No. So this is not complementary. So now let's work through little harder examples.